Good evening. My name's Jack Thomas. I'm Chair of the Code Enforcement Nuisance Board for the City of Bowling Green. I'd like to call this meeting to order of the board here in City Hall Chambers, Bowling Green, Kentucky. Date is June 28, 2016. It's just a little after 5 p.m. May we call the roll, please?
Deere.
Yes.
Simpson.
Here.
Dearbone.
Here.
Wilder.
Here.
Thomas.
Here. Okay, I want to have the swearing in of the officers, please. You stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes. Thank you. Any announcements that we have today? Comments? Okay, hearing, agenda and appeals. Case number 1. Oops, we got to do the minutes from last week. You've all been mailed the minutes. Is there any corrections or additions? If not, do I have a motion to accept them as presented?
Move to approve. Second.
Simpson. Dearbone. Deere.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Dearbone. Wilder.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes. Okay, now we'll go on to the hearing agenda for appeals. Code enforcement case number 1. It is 2016-3050. The citation is number 2016-2961-2912. Excuse me, at 2912 Sarah Drive, owner Jamie Gomez, respondent Jamie Gomez. Tim, would you bring us up to date on?
Yes, sir. This case was created as a result of a roaming inspection that was conducted on May the 10th of this year. The violations that were on the property, at the time I inspected it, was just that the grass was overgrown. It exceeded the 10-inch height limit provided by code. On the same date, I issued a notice of violation, which is on your screen. I mailed this notice of violation to the PVA registered owner at the address listed on the PVA website. And I set a reinspection date for the 18th of May. On the 18th of May, I reinspected the property, and the front yard was mowed. However, the backyard, as you can see, was still in excess of 10 inches. Being that the front yard was mowed, instead of issuing a citation on that day, I put a notice on the front door with my card with a note for them to contact me, and set another reinspection date for the 23rd of May. On the 23rd of May, not having any contact, and also finding out that it was actually one of the neighbors that had mowed the front yard. I did a reinspection on the 23rd. As I said, it was still in violation, so I issued a citation, posted the citation on the property, mailed the citation to the PVA registered owner at his address as listed, and came back to the office, did a work order, and sent a contractor to mow the yard.
Okay, is Mr. Gomez here? Please step forward. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
That's one of my rentals properties, and I was not in town.
Speak into the microphone there. Thank you.
That's one of my rental properties. I was not in town. Actually, I drove by and I saw that paper that he left on the door, and that's not the correct address. Like I said, that's the rental property that I have, and my correct address, I never received any letters or anything like that. And I got a contract here that the house is rented to this other person.
Do you not require your renters to take care of the property?
Yes, sir. That was on the contract, but like I said, I was not in town. I didn't go by there when I got back and looked at it, however it was. When I got back, I went there, but I saw that letter on the door, and that's when I noticed, and I called as soon as I saw that.
How often do you mow the yard, or how often do you check it to have the
Well, from
grass,
that-
the grass to get that
After I
high?
got-
Just a moment, to have the grass go that high, and then the neighbors apparently were upset enough that they went over and mowed the front yard themselves. I just wonder how often you do go by, Mr. Gomez, and check your property.
Yes, sir, like I said, I usually do every other week, but I was not in town, like I said, I was not in town. But when I got back in town, I went and I saw that paper on the front door, and that's when I grabbed it and I called on that number and see what the problem was.
Could I make a statement? The reason that the notice was sent to the address that it was sent to is, this is directly from the PVA website. If you'll notice, it lists Mr. Gomez's mailing address as 2912 Sarah Drive. And also, in the deed where he bought the property, it also lists his address, whose address is 2912 Sarah Drive. If he lives somewhere else, that's why he didn't get the notice.
Yes, that's correct. The lady that, when I made the phone call, when I saw that she told me to go to PBA and call the office and make sure to change that, because that was they had me under that address.
But you weren't living there, right?
No, sir.
You live in Franklin, Kentucky?
I live in Rockfield,
Rockville. I see.
yes.
Said you were out of town. How long were you gone between?
See, I do construction work, I do framing. I was working in Louisville. I was coming the weekend, but I was leaving. I really didn't have much time to go by there, and like I said, we talked about it with the guy that I rented to, that he was supposed to maintenance, so I guess it was a little bit my fault, because when I had a chance, I didn't go by and take care of it. But like I said, when I got back, I just went straight to the property and looked at it, and that's when I saw that letter on the paper on the front door, and I tried to take care of it as soon as I could, but it was too late.
When did you get back in town? What date?
I think it was like the 24th or 25th, because it was a little bit past the last inspection, because she even told me, the lady that I talked to on the phone.
How many properties do you have, Mr. Gomez?
I have 4,
4?
yes.
Have you been before this board before?
No, sir.
Have you been in the business of managing properties for some time?
I'm sorry?
How long have you been in the business?
This is my second year.
Second year?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Has the back been mowed?
Yes, city contractor mowed it,
So we have an expense for that.
correct. $50 mow fee.
So the neighbor did the front, though, so we have no expense.
Correct.
Okay.
It was just a flat $50 fee.
Well, since we put out $50 to mow your property, I think it would be proper that we charge you $50.
That would be perfect. I don't mind if somebody else done it. I mean, I don't mind paying whoever done it for
We
me.
have a motion to do that?
Are you waiving the citation
Yes.
fees of 106,
Yes,
but asking that we collect $50 for that?
that's correct.
Okay, I second the motion.
And we're on the citation, upholding the citation, correct?
Yes.
Uphold citation, waive the $106.75 fee, but apply the $50 mow fee.
Okay, Thomas, Wilder, Deere,
Yes.
Simpson,
No.
Dearbone,
Yes.
Wilder,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes. You'll see the lady over here, she'll instruct you. Second case. Citation 2016-2708, The address is 1304 Fair Street, owner Michael D. and Michael R. Brantley, and the respondent was Mr. Brantley. Officer Brad, would you explain what you found?
This case is the result of a roaming inspection that was conducted on May 12th. Like the previous case, the violation was overgrown grass on the property. Notice of violation was sent to the PVA listed owner and address on that date with a compliance reinspection on May 19th. On the 20th of May, I then completed my compliance reinspection and found that the property was still in violation, with the grass and weeds being an average of 20 inches tall throughout the property. A citation was issued on that date and posted on the property, as well as sent by certified mail to the PVA listed owner and address. Photographs were taken of the citation and property at the time the citation was posted. Based on language in Mr. Brantley's appeal, it must be noted that this is the third overgrown grass or weeds complaint at this property in 3 months. He states that he was not properly served a notice of violation on his property. Past attempts were made to bring the property in compliance by contacting the owner and occupant by phone to discuss the violation. On April 29th, in connection with a different case for overgrown grass and weeds on this property, I had researched prior contacts and resources in order to find a phone number for someone associated with the property and spoke with Mr. Brantley by phone at that time. We discussed the overgrown grass and weeds on the property, and he was aware that overgrown grass in excess of 10 inches was a violation of city code. He informed me that the address was incorrect or that he had never received a violation. I told him the listed address that we had on file and attempted to explain the process to change that address with the PVA office if it was incorrect. In addition, a notice of violation was sent in accordance with International Property Maintenance Code by first-class mail, as always. The certified mail slip that's described in Mr. Brantley's appeal is the delivery of the citation, not of the notice of violation. And in fact, the citation was never retrieved from the post office. We ended up getting it back at the office. So even though Mr. Brantley in his appeal states that he got a notice on his door about the certified letter, he never went to collect the certified letter. So. But again, in addition to the current notice of violation and citation, he had been given notice at least twice regarding the violation of overgrown grass and weeds within the city. And on this occasion was the third time that the property was in violation in 3 months. So at that time, the citation was issued and a city contractor mowed the front and back yard.
We have a record of that mowing.
Verified.
Yes. Have that here.
What was the date of that?
The date that is on, the date that they put on here is the date that they send the bill, so I'm not sure the exact date that they mowed it, but it's within usually 24 to 48 hours.
Brantley here? Please come. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Now, the first I heard of this incident was on the 20th. I did get those phone calls in the past. I've never received any other correspondence regarding this. I delegate mowing of the yard to my roommate who was unemployed at the time. And so, actually on the 19th, I did notice the grass as I was leaving the house for work, and I made a note to get on him to mow it. On the 20th, I received that posting in the front of my yard. That's the first official notice I've had of this. And on the 19th, the front yard was mowed. On the 21st, the front yard was mowed. On the 22nd, the backyard was mowed. On the next Monday, I was woken by a contractor who mowed the already mowed yard because I did not touch the sign because I had already mowed it. I believe that to be apparent. I don't know what your contractor would want to do, but I was woken up by a mower. Now, I've never received the outlined correspondence. I've made every attempt to protect the issue once it came to my attention. I do not look at my yard often. I mowed the yard. Every time it has come to my attention that I needed to mow the yard, I mowed it. I've made it a project. I don't do landscaping often, but my current hobby is I'm replanting the yard in a lower maintenance planting pattern with different plants. That retaining wall you see with the cinder blocks, I disassembled that, de-weeded that, reassembled it with gravel to avoid further weed problems in that wall. I am making efforts to correct this issue. And I don't know how to deal with the PVA. I don't know what other address they could possibly have. I've lived here since I bought the house.
Made an attempt to correct that
I
with the PVA?
I have not managed to contact the PVA. I have only made a few small efforts to, but this is the only way it's ever come up to me. I don't know what the PVA is or how to contact them, and my searches online have not yielded anything other than a mailing address.
Just as a note to the board, I had contacted the PVA prior to tonight's meeting in order to verify what address they did have on file. The PVA states that they have 1304 Fair as the listed address and mailing address in the PVA records. However, the sheriff's office shows a different address also associated with a Michael R. and Michael D. Brantley, which is where the notices have been going because that's where the tax statements have been going in the past. So I'm not sure of the discrepancy there, but I verified with them that all Mr. Brantley would need to do is contact the sheriff's office or the PVA, and they would be happy to make sure that all the addresses are correct.
I would also like to say that I was told that I would receive a letter about this hearing in advance. I've received no such letter. It's only because I made my appeal in person, and I was told when this hearing would be that I knew to come here. I've not received any information since that posting on my front yard.
This happened May 22nd, and I think you said you didn't know how to get in touch with PVA. This is a lot of research you've done here, or
Yes.
somebody's done. So why can't you find the PVA?
I don't know. The PVA's information did not seem forthcoming.
It's not,
It did not seem apparently available. I was not able to
right.
find any information on the PVA.
I have their phone number written down here, if that's okay to pass that along.
Sure.
Okay.
So, Michael, you delegated the responsibility for cutting the grass to your roommate,
Yes. And
so why did you bring your roommate with you today? Likely, he's the one who needs to pay the fine.
he doesn't have any money.
So who's responsible then?
It's my house. I'm taking responsibility. I should have been harder on him.
Yes.
However, I've made every effort to correct this, so I don't expect it to be an issue in the future.
But you've had 3 prior problems or issues with the grass.
I've had innumerable prior issues with this because nobody wants to mow the yard. So I don't know how many times any official action has been taken on it. It's a constant battle of the grass is too long, we need to get that mowed.
But you understand full well it's your responsibility as the owner of the land.
And that's why I do make sure it gets mowed.
I would also like to clarify where I sent the notice to appear certified mail. I have the white card, do not have the green card, and the letter has not come back in the mail yet. I verified also with the gentleman that his mailing address was 1304 Fair Street. So I'm not sure why it didn't get to him, but I just wanted to clarify that.
That's not,
I have not received the green card or the whole letter back in the mail, but I have the certified
where it was sent.
where it was sent.
And you're holding more than one?
Oh, I have to do that with all of them that I send out.
Excuse me?
I have to send out all of my things certified mail. I just have them all in my hand. This one's his.
Mr. Brantley, the address that the notice is going to is 3338 Lake Shore Drive in Bowling Green. Are you familiar?
That's my previous address. No one in my family lives there now. We haven't for years.
Okay, that's the discrepancy that it appears where that's where the mail is going per either the sheriff's office or the billing statements or whatever. So that's where, when you call that number, make sure that they change it from the Lake Shore to the Fair Drive
All right, I will
address.
call that number and get that sorted.
property's been cleaned up since we paid for the city paid for the mowing.
It appears, based on the picture in front of you there, which was taken today, that Mr. Brantley has taken it upon himself to, I guess,
I'm going to
ensure
replant.
that there's no grass in the future.
I'm going to replant hint with different plants, yes.
So as of right now, there's not overgrown grass, because there's not grass.
I make a motion, I'd like to make a motion that we uphold the citation, we waive the fine of the $106.75 and charge him for the $50 fee for the mowing cost.
Second?
The yard was mowed before the contractor arrived. I have pictures of this.
City had to pay for the yard.
There was
for
no
the
way for me to
$50.
stop that. The citation, the posting was made on Friday. I filed my appeal Monday. I mowed on Saturday and Sunday. There was nothing I don't know how I could have stopped that. There was nothing in the communication about stopping the mowing. Therefore, I mowed the yard and expected that to not be necessary.
Regarding discussion on the motion, I'm a little bit concerned about some of the comments here about you being somewhat rude with the people trying to help you. I don't know if I really understand that. And how long have you lived in Bowling Green?
I have lived in Bowling Green since the 7th grade,
7th grade?
yes.
And you don't know where the sheriff's office is?
I do not. I've never had a
It's
petition
right
notice.
next door. Okay, and the PV office is right above it. I'm a little bit upset about the way he handled it from what I read here.
What upsets you? I apologize for any rudeness.
Anyway, that was my comment on your discussion. We were having.
Well, I think there are extenuating circumstances in his defense in that he did not get the notice. Is that right? And so I would second your motion.
My motion was based upon that fact.
Right, I understand.
So the motion was to abate the fine of, or citation, or not the citation, but the
Uphold the
fine.
citation, waive the fine
Waive
of
the
100
fine and
and charge for the $50 for the
Okay.
mowing fee.
it's been seconded.
Deere, Wilder, Deere,
Yes.
Simpson,
No,
Deerbone,
Yes.
Wilder,
Yes.
Thomas. Yes. See the lady there, please?
We have 30 days from the entry of the judgment in this.
Another appeal. He wants to make another appeal.
RE in this county. Yeah, and it'd be Judge Brown, Judge Potter, Judge Brent Potter, Judge Sam Potter. You have to do it at the courthouse. That's a courthouse, that's the Justice Center, and that's where you would go.
Thank you. Case number 3. The case number is 2016-3809, citation 2016-3199. The address 1333 Lee Drive, South. The owner, Jacob Aaron Gibbs. Respondent, Mr. Gibbs. Brad?
This case is again the result of a roaming inspection for overgrown grass. It was conducted on June 3rd of 2016. Notice of violation was sent on that date with a follow-up compliance reinspection date of June 10th to the PVA listed owner and address. On June 10th, I completed a reinspection and found the property still to be in violation. It appeared that the front and side yard had been mowed, but there were still very high areas of grass that would require a trimmer to be used. In order to encourage compliance and avoid a citation or mowing fee just based on those 2 or 3 areas, I had filled out a door hanger with my card and was approaching the house to leave that door hanger. However, as I pulled along the side of the house into the driveway to leave that door hanger, I observed that the majority of the backyard was extremely overgrown, and by that I mean that it was in excess of 4 feet in some areas. A citation was then issued in order to abate that nuisance. The citation was posted on the property and photographs were taken. It was also sent by certified mail to the PVA listed owner and address. Later that afternoon, Mr. Gibbs called our office and he and I spoke. Initially, he was upset thinking that I had just cited him for the 2 areas that required the trimming. I explained that I had seen those and was going to leave a door hanger. However, when I saw the backyard, it was clearly in violation of city code and needed to be abated by a city contractor. By the end of the phone call, Mr. Gibbs and I were on the same page. He was cooperative and said that he didn't realize he had to mow all of his yard. He thought he just had to mow the front part of the yard. So he agreed that in the future he would be mowing the backyard as well. And on the 13th, I re-inspected the property and the violation had been abated by the homeowner, so the contractor's work order was canceled. As of today, and there's some pictures here you'll see in front of you, the property is getting slightly overgrown again. I have not inspected it since the appeal from Mr. Gibbs. However, the backyard is much more under control, but the front and side yards are getting long again. Mr. Gibbs had communicated to me that his trimmer the shaft in his trimmer had broken, and that was what had caused those 2 large areas when the citation was posted. I'm not sure if that's still the case, and that's why some of those areas are getting long again or not, but it is in violation of code as of today as well.
Curious, the picture showing now, is that construction material out there, or what is that?
Yeah, it appears to be, and there's a trailer there that was not there when I posted the citation. I don't know if that's the nature of work Mr. Gibbs does, and maybe that's transient, but it was not there at the time when I was dealing with the original case.
Back over 10 inches now?
In some areas, I wouldn't say over 50% of the entire yard is, but in some areas, especially around the road there, as you can see, I mean, on the right side of that picture, closer to the house, it's not as high, but on the left side of the picture, it's over 10 inches.
Gibbs? Right hand, please. You swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Can I just start by explaining my yard there? Where the high grass is, there's actually a drainage ditch that was put in by the city. There's a large drain on either side of that. That's why it grows quicker than the other one. That actually is getting mowed right now as I'm here. It was my wife's mowing on the riding mower. We had to get new blades whenever we tackled the field in the back. I've been there for 4 years, and the citation I got, I've always been, I'll tell you, I got a couple in the past. I work 2 jobs, my wife works 2. We don't get a chance to mow as much as we should. I've never gotten a citation before. I've never had to come here before. I always try to get in compliance. So whenever I saw the first warning for the citation, I mowed my actual yard. There's a large hill and another drainage ditch back there that separates my normal yard from the field in the back corner. So I mowed that thinking that was what the citation was for, because I'd never been told before that back field had to be mowed. It's not used for anything. There's no houses by it. There's another open field on the other side. It's kind of been out of the way. I don't use it. And then whenever it came to check for the first one, I thought I was in compliance, like he said, besides the tall grass on the corners. I knew I hadn't done that yet. But then I came home and I found the citation. I called him and asked why. And he said it was for the field in the back. The first 2 years I lived there, I didn't even know that field belonged to me. I was on an older plat than what we have currently. From the phone call that I got from him, I don't think he realized that it belonged to me to start with until he came around and saw it, because it is kind of detached from everything else in the back. But as soon as he told me that it needed to be mowed, it was mowed that weekend, and by Monday, I was completely in compliance again. So if I'd been told that was supposed to have been mowed too, because prior I haven't been told it was supposed to have been mowed, it would have been mowed with the rest of the yard.
You understand that grass does grow?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. Yes.
Actually, when I had this area, we had a conversation too over it and explaining that. Now, it's been a good year and a half since we had that conversation, but telling him that rest of that was his, because he was unsure of it.
Yes, ma'am.
And it was me that had that conversation with him. And I'd actually told Brad to kind of keep an eye on it because it seems like a lot of times it takes a lot of reminding for it to get done. So when we switched areas at the beginning of the year, we discussed different properties that might come up. And this was actually in that discussion.
Can I just say too, the reason we don't maintain that field is I don't use it, and in that area, it's right behind the Family Dollar, and there are constantly kids walking through there. And we had an attempted break-in that was reported to the Bowling Green Police and everything else there. And I like to discourage anybody from being back there using it for anything. Somebody tried to break in while my wife was there. We've had several thefts and vandalisms there from people walking through. And I find when it's grown up like that, nobody wants to be back there in it. It keeps out of it. Since I don't use it, and since it's over there in the corner, I mean, you can't really see it from the picture, but there's a fence and tree line there, and then there's a fence and tree line on the side of it there too. There are no houses or anything like that around it. I don't know if you can see that from the picture or not, but it's kind of just out of the way in the back.
As we speak, your wife is out cutting the yard this afternoon?
Yes, sir. I bought brand new mower blades today.
You need to be commended for that. Commend your wife.
Well, I'm actually missing I work for Warren County Schools during the day, during the summertime, and I work construction at night. That's what the construction material's out for. We're in the middle of a job right now, hopefully trying to complete today or tomorrow, and then all of that will be separated and taken to the scrap it's supposed to go to. The metal to the metal and wood to other places.
That lays around too long, you'll be cited for that as well.
Yes, sir. It's supposed to, like I said, we're supposed to finish up today, and then this was scheduled for today. If not, we'll finish up tomorrow, and it'll be gone tomorrow afternoon. I just didn't want to take multiple trips whenever I'm getting ready to bring more back.
Your wife works 2 jobs and she's cutting the grass?
Yes, sir. She's off today. We both work too.
Your wife is more understanding than mine.
She works in an office.
Well, it doesn't matter.
I work as a custodian and in construction.
Okay, we've heard both sides. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to uphold the citation but dismiss the fine in the amount of $106.75.
Second.
Simpson, Dearbone. Deer,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes,
Dearbone,
Yes.
Wilder,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes, but I think the 106, you need to take your wife out.
Yes, sir.
yes, I agree with that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, case number 4. 2016-2115, the citation 2116-3460, the address 1541 Sunrise Drive North, owner F.O. Huffman. Brad, that's your case again?
I'd ask you to bear with me on this one as well. This is a lengthy one, and we've had 2 citations on this. It's been going on 77 days now as of today. So bear with me slightly on this, and give me 1 second here while we find the pictures as well. If you go into the case, Tim, they should be in there. This case is the result of a citizen complaint that was received by our office on April 12th. Permission was granted by an adjacent homeowner to enter their property and inspect the property in question at 1541 Sunrise. During the inspection on the 14th of April, the following violations were noted. Overgrown grass and weeds, numerous between 8 and 10 inoperable or unlicensed vehicles, more than 4 vehicles parked on the grass, an accumulation of rubbish and garbage on the property, mainly in the backyard, an accumulation of junk or scrap, including metal, sinks, toilets, several unused or discarded appliances, shelving, car parts, and cookware, and an accumulation of construction or demolition debris, including wood, concrete blocks, fencing material, appliances, sinks, toilets, metal, tarps, buckets, PVC piping, etc. Notice of violation was sent to the PVA listed owner and address on the 15th. with a compliance date of April 25th. Separate notice of violation was also sent on that date for the overgrown grass on a split case with a compliance inspection of the 22nd of April. On April 22nd, I completed a compliance reinspection for the grass case itself and happened to run into Mr. Huffman, who resides at the location. He was very cooperative, said he understood the violations, wanted to be in compliance. He and I had actually met prior for an unrelated code enforcement, not related to code enforcement, issue the previous year, so we had some rapport, and again, Mr. Huffman was willing to work on everything, kept saying he wouldn't let me down. At that time, I agreed to a 10-day extension to allow him to work on the violations after discussing all of them in person with him so that we were on the same page and he understood what needed to be corrected. He also then said that he would grant permission to come onto the property if needed at that time. I re-inspected the property on May 3rd. Little to nothing had been done, and on the 5th, I granted a 2-day extension and came back on May 5th, and on May 5th, I again ran into Mr. Huffman while at the property. I told Mr. Huffman that the grass in the back of the property was very long, and it was again in violation. In addition, it appeared that nothing had been done since the original notice had been sent and he and I had met. Mr. Huffman said that the rain had been holding him up and he was having some family problems, but again said that he wouldn't let me down. I suggested that we break the violations down into smaller parts to work on them week by week, which would be more manageable for him. We agreed that by the 12th of May, he would remove all of the toilets and appliances from the backyard and have the grass mowed. I would then re-inspect, and we would then parcel it out into another phase of completion and work on it like that. On the 13th of May, I inspected, found that the toilets were gone, and a flat tire on a vehicle in the driveway was aired up, but the grass was overgrown and all the appliances were still there. In addition, there was a mattress in the backyard. I spoke to Mr. Huffman by phone and again tried to work with him on compliance at this location. He continued to say he wouldn't let me down, that he was just busy and had plans to work on it. He had plans to tow the cars out and dump gravel in the back, to park the cars on, clean up the backyard, etc. So we agreed that by the following Thursday, he would have the appliances and mattress moved, and again, hopefully mow the grass. On the 19th of May, during that inspection, I found that the most compliance to date was gained. The appliances were gone or moved, grass was mowed, and the mattress was gone. I spoke to Mr. Huffman and thanked him for what he had been able to do at that point, and we discussed the remaining violations and then the next phase or chunk that we would work on. Mr. Huffman said he was planning to have all the cars moved out of the backyard and/or all of the inoperable vehicles on the property towed off. We agreed on another 11-day extension for a follow-up on June 1st for compliance on either all of the vehicles, a portion of the vehicles, or all of the metal, plastic, wood, debris, etc. I was clear that this case had been going on for an extended period of time with minimal improvement at that point, and without contact from him or compliance by June 1st, I had no choice but to issue a citation. On June 1st, I re-inspected and found Mr. Huffman and several friends sitting on chairs in the front yard and asked if it was ready for inspection. He stated that it was not, but that there was progress, and pointed at a white van in the driveway, which I assumed meant that he had moved it from the backyard. I reiterated our agreement about the car's junk metal and he kept saying that he wouldn't let me down. I also mentioned the grass was very tall again, and he said he was going to mow it that day and his friends were going to help him clean up the back. I asked if it would be ready to inspect the following afternoon if I gave him yet another extension, and he said it would be. Tim, if you go to the J drive and just go to my folder, not the meeting folder, but just go to the J drive. It should be under Brad's, 2016 maybe, and then Brad's photos. And then if you go to any of these, go to today's date, and you can see on the 28th there, go to the 28th. And then you should be able to go by case there. On June 2nd, I completed a compliance reinspection and found the property was still in violation. This had been 49 days since the original notice of violation, and after approximately 6 extensions had been given for voluntary compliance. At that date, a citation was issued and posted on the property, as well as sent by certified mail to the PVA-listed owner and address. The citation had a compliance date of June 14th, 2016. Photographs were taken of the citation and the property. Mr. Huffman was again in the front yard when I arrived to post the citation. I was not able to physically post it on the property, but I placed it on an inoperable vehicle to take a photo before he took possession of the citation. I explained why the citation was issued. Mr. Huffman was mostly cooperative again. However, he called Code Enforcement Coordinator James Napper while I was there and spoke with him on the phone at length, stating that he was going to get an attorney and file an appeal to that citation because he believed it was unfair. After that time, there had been no contact from Mr. Huffman and no appeal between June 2nd and June 17th. On June 14th, I went to the property to inspect and found a female sitting in the front doorway. I asked her if Mr. Huffman was home, and she said he was not, but he had been trying to do some work on the property. I photographed the property and found no changes to the property since the first citation had been issued. I ensured the female had my contact information and asked her to have Mr. Huffman contact me by Friday to avoid another citation. No further contact was made by Mr. Huffman. On the 17th of June, I briefed Code Enforcement Coordinator Napper on the case and asked that he would come to the property with me in order to get his opinion as to whether or not a second citation would be necessary and to make sure he was involved in the case since Mr. Huffman had called him initially. He and I inspected the property and found it to still be in violation. He had directed me to issue a second citation at that time. A citation was issued on that date and posted on the property, as well as sent by certified mail to the PVA-listed owner and address. Photographs were taken of the citation and property, and there was a compliance date of the 27th of this month, being yesterday, which was postponed due to the filed appeal. It must be noted that similar violations have been ongoing at this property for a long period of time. Since 2011, there were 9 different code cases at this address, 7 of which have dealt with numerous junk vehicles, vehicles on the grass, accumulated junk, etc., and the property has already been issued a citation, which I believe was in 2012 or 2013, for inoperable vehicles. Again, the pictures in front of you today are, the pictures in front of you are as of today. The property is still in violation. However, there has finally been some more significant progress that 4 of the vehicles, the inoperable vehicles that were parked in the grass on the backyard, have been towed away or removed from the property. There are still 4 inoperable vehicles in the driveway, in addition to the junk construction debris, overgrown grass, appliances. There you can see a broken window on the shed that's covered by untreated wood and shows sign of decay or mold. Overgrown grass, appliances. But again, the 4 vehicles that were in the backyard have been towed or removed from the property since the last citation was issued.
Thank you. Mr. Huffman? Yes, sir. Please step forward. Raise your right hand, please. I swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, like he said, he came by the residence. I've dealt with Mo before. She's the one that I put the fence up in the back because you could actually see the cars from the road. I put the fence up. Mo came over. That was before she switched, and he took over her area. Couldn't see the cars anymore, even though, you know, now that I know that they're not supposed to be on the grass without gravel or blacktop. I believe it's blacktop now in the city limits. We removed all the vehicles. The overgrown grass, there is no overgrown grass. We brought pictures as well, and one of my neighbors that lives 2 houses down from me. Yes, sir. She's looking with her phone, so if you'll let her approach.
You can just slide that way, and
Okay.
it'll show you every picture on there, I believe is the last one I took.
I have a necklace if I go that way.
Yeah, it's really pretty, isn't it?
That's not what we had in mind, though.
Sorry.
When were the pictures taken, Mr. Huffman?
Today, sir.
Today?
Yes, sir.
How long's this stuff been going on?
It's been going on for a while, and like on my appeal, I put on there, you know, I'm on the child, my mom, she's elderly, on a cane with a, you know, and it's her residence actually, you know, and, all the vehicles, everything that, Mr. Sazowski, I don't wanna mispronounce his name, but it's kinda difficult to pronounce his last name. But everything that he's asked of me, you know, like I told him, it was only me doing the stuff, you know, it's only one man. I was like, you know, but I'm willing to work with you and try to get everything in compliance. It came to a point to where, like, he was at the residence, and I understand that, you know, it's his job to do a follow-up, but he was at the residence like every other day, you know, like asking me, what did you get done, what did you get done? And I'm telling him, like, man, I'm really trying to get this done. And with the vehicles, like I said, we got them completely removed. All the debris and everything is up. That trailer that he showed you in the front, it was moved out from in the front and put on to the actual driveway there. There are no vehicles back there. There is no overgrown debris anymore. The privacy fence that Mo suggested for me to put up in the very beginning, because she was like, that way no one could see. Miss Lindsay gave you the photographs there where you can see from the back. You can't see the back of my property from any other street or anything like that. Even with him being able to come into Miss Parker's yard next door now, there isn't anything there anymore. So, you know, my key was that I was gonna keep working, and even today, you know, I continued to keep working. I wasn't gonna get discouraged because of a fine or something like that, because I knew it was my responsibility to get it done. And that's exactly what I done. I got it completely done. So, you know, my whole thing was my mom, you know, being fined, you know, that type of money, you know, like I said, I continued to completely do what was asked of me, but just like I said, I'm only one person, you know, but I did do what I said I was gonna do.
And you live with your mom, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And this has been going on how many days, Brad? 70?
77.
Case is open 77 days
77
today.
days. Do you have anybody else living with you, a
No,
sibling,
sir.
or
No, sir.
who can
Just me and
help?
my mama.
Do you have a full-time job?
Yes, sir. I work fences and more. I do construction. That's where I met him out on the construction site. He knows I'm a hard worker. He's seen what type of work I do, and it's you know, I don't halfway do it. You know, I do it right if I'm gonna do it, and I made sure that I did that right, you know, so.
And yet it's taken you almost 3 months to,
I'm about, like I said, I'm about a full-time job and doing it on my own by myself every afternoon when I came home. My neighbor can vouch for it every day. And when he would pull up, you know, he would even see me working. So you know, like I said, he pretty much told me that it went so far, it was out of his hands. He said that it was Frankfurt that was forcing the issue of the citation part, is what he told me.
I'm not sure what Mr. Huffman's referencing.
Excuse me?
I'm not sure what Mr. Huffman is referencing. We never talked about
We
Frankfurt.
have nothing to do with Frankfurt.
Okay, but I'm being honest with you. You told me to raise my hand. That's what I'm doing, telling the truth. You remember when me and you talked, you said it was out of your hands, that it went to a higher thing. And Frankfurt, really, the paperwork goes to Frankfurt. You
No,
said
sir. Any discussion we would have had would have been that I said maybe my supervisor was involved, which is why you then called James Napper while you were standing there
Yeah,
with the
but that's not
citation
what
in
he
your
told me.
hand.
I'm not gonna be argumentative because this is not the time for
No,
that.
no need for it.
He told me that the paperwork was out of his hands. He says, normally, I could get rid of the citation and stuff because he seen that I was trying to comply with him. He said, but it's done went too far now, and it's gotta be turned in, and he said that once it goes in, Frankfurt gets involved, he's like, we've only got so long that we gotta comply on this stuff. That's what he told me.
So on the times where you guys agreed to extensions,
I did everything he asked.
and when you weren't, there were times where you weren't completely done, did you make an effort to get with Brad and say, okay, I'm not completely done?
Called him. I would call him and tell him. He can tell you. Called him on the phone. I'd be like, hey, Brad, come by, man. I was like, you know, he'd be like, all right, Kyrus. And then he'd come by, get out of his truck. Me and him would stand there and talk for a while. He'd be like, all right, keep it up. And then it just got, like I said, it just started going more and more south, like he thought that I was, you know, drag-tailing, and I wasn't. You know, I was still, and that was my main emphasis. That was one of the conversations him and I had. I told him, I said, I've read, you know, the criteria of these fines and stuff like that. I am working towards it, and it wasn't like I said, I wasn't drag-tailing. But if you look at me, I wasn't drag-tailing. So I told him, I said, you know, I'm trying to get it done for you. He was like, well, you know, I'm really trying, and I got it done, and it is done now, today. You know, there ain't no overgrown grass. I know they came by today and took the photograph, you know, but then we was working, and the photograph she just got through showing, the judge there, he looked at them. He sees that, you know, all that stuff, even that trash can top back there, everything is gone. So, you know, table, the air compressor was sitting there to air up those tires that he was talking about there.
All right, is everything gone?
I don't know. The pictures in front of you are what we took this morning at about 9:15 or 9:30.
9:15.
So I'm not entirely sure what's happened since then. My assumption would be that if it's taken 77 days to get this far, that I don't know if that much would have happened in 8 hours, but
But the photographs,
can't
I'm
verify
about
it.
to speak 1,000 words. We just handed you those from the neighbor.
We can't read those.
Oh, you can't see them?
No.
If you can, sir, I don't know if you're not still saying anything about your eyesight, it's a little dim, if you can still see these pictures, if you'd like to take a look.
Well, let someone else do it. I just had eye surgery, so you can't count on me.
Well, what are all the vehicles doing there? Why?
There was an accumulation. The red 63 pickup
I would,
truck was my
I
granddaddy's.
mean, it's not my decision.
Get back over there, the
Yes,
microphone.
sir. I'm sorry.
Do what now?
The red 63 pickup truck, Chevy pickup truck, was my granddaddy's. That was my mama's daddy's.
Good to him. He's
But
got
it's
young
gone.
eyes.
She had inherited that car. The green Jaguar that was there was a vehicle that my mom drove before they had got rid of. It told her to stop driving because that heart surgery of hers. That Toyota Celica, I had wrecked it. It had a GT motor in it. I went ahead and salvaged it on out, you know, because, you know, I wanted to do what they'd asked me in compliance. I'd salvaged it out there. So, you know, those was the three.
Oh, you're not in automobile business.
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
Are the four vehicles in the driveway, have those been removed, Mr. Huffman?
The pictures
sorry,
or
sir.
what's in the back?
The four vehicles in the driveway that don't have tags, those inoperable vehicles, have those been moved?
In the driveway are on the pavement there, and they're tagged.
Okay. Well, they don't display a valid license. Talking to the,
I've paid the taxes on them. And Mo, you remember when we talked last year, because my car's under the carport there, they're not facing the street.
Fine,
They
can
were
you
supposed to
make
be
that
backed in. The tags, you can't even see none of that from the street, huh?
Hey.
I just
so-
had eye surgery,
But
so
the vehicles
I
in
don't
back.
have any glass in there. All right, we've had confirmation from a pair of young eyes that says that everything's gone. So,
Everything as far as I can see in those pictures looks clean, as far as from what I can see.
Well, let's let Brad look at that too.
well, and,
Yes, sir.
well, again, and it's not my decision, it's the board's decision. Our request is that you uphold the citation and fine so that we can continue our code enforcement action, and at that point, if I go back and inspect and find no further violations, then we'll close our case. So whether or not there's anything on her phone, at the board's decision, if you uphold the citation and fine, we can resume our normal code enforcement activity, and I can go out and re-inspect the property with my own eyes. But again, it appears as of the discussion that Mr. Huffman and I just had, that there are still 4 vehicles in the driveway that are not up to code. It appears that he had a prior agreement that as long as these vehicles were backed in and parked under, or parked on the pavement, that they were okay. They do not display a valid license. One of them does not have a tire that stays up. They're still inoperable vehicles. So, but again, I'm happy to go back and re-inspect the rear of the property, you know, with my own eyes and handle that accordingly as well.
Yes, my mother, she's wanting to say something to you all, can she?
yes, please. Take your time. Would you identify yourself, please?
My name is Frances Huffman, and I'm the owner of the property.
Okay, do you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Now, I've had surgery on my throat, so I hope you can hear me. What I want to know is this. I was informed that your vehicles have to be on asphalt, you know, a pavement or whatever, in your driveway. Okay. Now, my driveway is paved, but now I hear that because I got a carport over it, the carport got to be moved. Now, what is a carport for if it ain't to go over if it ain't over your driveway? And that was part of what I take as, this code enforcement stuff. And another thing I wanna know, what's his name, Brad?
My name is Brad, and just on that point, the carport is nothing that we would enforce. That would be a different
Because
agency.
it's called, planning and zoning.
Planning and zoning does
Right.
enforce that, that's
Y'all
correct.
sent y'all's pictures to them. Y'all went to code, y'all went to planning and zoning and told them that we had a carport.
That,
Sold our
that's,
cars and told
that's
them-
correct, Mr. Huffman, that's
And
my
said
job.
it can't be in-
That's-
said it can't
that's my
be
job.
in front of your house.
So the thing
That's
is,
what my driveway.
Oh, wait, one at a time, please. One at a time.
okay, but the thing is, what they're doing is, and I didn't really want to bring it up because, you know, we was here about this, but what they've done is because it came to a situation that Brad and I, like I said, me trying to do compliance, trying to be in compliance with him and doing everything I can, and I'm gonna, and if y'all tell me to do something again today, I'm gonna do it, because that's just the way I am. I'm gonna try to make sure I do right. He turns around, and because I'm telling him, Brad, I'm trying to get this done, once the supervisor gets out there, he takes the pictures, they go to planning and zoning and tell them we got a carport in front of the house that's not attached. Send the pictures from this code violation to planning and zoning and tell them that they need to have us to move the carport. And now planning and zoning came out, he says, I don't know what's going on, but the city code enforcement sent us some pictures and told us we need to come out here and look at this. And said, he was like, you know, I'm not gonna enforce it right now. He said, because I see that you're trying to do what you're supposed to be doing. He said, but this is what they did. So you know, I'm not understanding, you know, it's like they're trying to create this snowball, and I'm really still trying, you know, so I'm not understanding. And that's the same way with the Frankfurt deal that y'all say that nothing has to go to Frankfurt. You know, there's been these continuations of them trying to, like, you know, poke the bear. So, you know, and when I say that, you know, I'm sitting here and I'm trying, but you keep coming to me and saying, okay, you ain't got this completed yet that we asked you to do, but you gotta get this done. You know, I'm about to, one person is all I am.
And another thing I don't understand is the fact that he was talking about there was a woman sitting on, a lady, whatever, sitting on the porch when he came, and he asked, was Kara's home? And I told him no. Well, he was, you know, he said, well, let him know that, to get hold of me. I said, well, okay. But something that upset me was, I have a dog, and he's in the back somewhere. And he made the comment that I didn't like. Well, I wouldn't go in y'all's backyard because you liable to sick the dog on me. No, I don't sick the dog. I don't sick the dog on nobody, wouldn't sick it on nobody. Because if I wouldn't be in my yard, I wouldn't need no dog. I just tell him, hit that road. Because it's my property. You get on out there on the street, and when you talk from the street or whatever. But don't say I'm gonna sick a dog on you. You don't know me like that. I just don't know what
we really have, you know, met in, and, you know, I could be that type of individual that could go down North Sunrise and I could show y'all things that are greater, lot greater violations than, you know, I'm about the things that he's saying that we're in violation of. I promise you I could. And the thing is, it'd be different if I was just speaking of something that I haven't took the time to knock on someone else's door and ask them, have you been cited about this? You know, and tonight's hearing, you know, I tried to get a couple of them individuals to come, but you know how people are when they think that they might be put under the microscope and then have to retaliation on them. They didn't want to come, but you know, there's other people, and it's great violations. I ain't talking about just you know, the grass is overgrown or something like that. And they have it. It's not even seen, but it seems like once they get their eyes something set on you, it's almost like, you know, a termite. It keeps eating until it eats it away, you know. But like I said, I'm really been trying to be in compliance and do everything that I said, and that's the reason why it's completely done now.
I got one question, another question to ask y'all, if y'all can tell me. What is how high can your grass be? Some people like their grass cut real low to the ground.
Our
Some
stuff gets
people
over 7
don't.
inches. That right there in the back around this stuff, it's all gone. But as far as the front yard goes, and in the pictures that they showed y'all, you can't see none of that from the back of my house because it's a privacy fence around the back. You can't see that. You have to come into Miss Parker's yard and look through the fencing, like those
Peek and
photographs,
peek.
to be able to even see my backyard back there. And even though that's still not right, because even though you got a privacy fence and it's up higher, it was a pass code, and I took care of it.
Let me ask you, if a reinspection were done tomorrow, what, all right, they have your permission, and all of the things that you and he had talked about have been accomplished, are done, per the photos that I can't see. And so, maybe I make a suggestion or a motion that we abate, or we hold this in abeyance until that inspection is completed tomorrow. If it has not been done, then the citation for $406.75 would stand.
And the appeal is for the second citation, saying that at the time the second citation was posted, that it was in compliance with code and that the citation was not correctly issued. As you can see by the pictures in front of you and by their own admissions, the property was in violation when the citation was posted. So again, our request from code enforcement is that the citation and fine be upheld. If the property is in compliance, then when I go out, I'll close the case. If it's not, then we'll continue with code enforcement
I just
action,
said that.
would be another citation.
I think I just said that.
No, I disagree. I believe that you just said that we would hold that fine in abeyance. This would be a completely separate citation.
Not if you hold it in abeyance.
Do you understand some of the definitions of inoperable vehicles?
And I'll run and
Now, do you understand about flat tires and property licensing vehicles and insured vehicles on your property and things of that nature?
Brad, you made some photographs this morning, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Could we see those, Tim, again?
Those are the ones you're seeing now in front of you.
Right here. That was this morning at what time?
About 9:15.
9:50. When did you make your photographs today? So between 9:15 and 4:15, something has happened big time. And you did it by yourself.
today we had 2 Mexicans.
You finally got some help after 70 days. After 70 days, you finally got some help.
After 70 days, finally got some help. Today, people were saying.
Why didn't you do this 2 weeks ago?
The reason-
3 weeks ago?
I've been doing this by myself. Today, the 2 Latinos that came over, our neighbors that live next door and seen me out there working like a dog and came out and helped me. Ain't nobody else volunteered to come out and help me.
Why didn't you seek some help a month ago?
I'm not even seeking from whom.
Well, you found 2 Latinos today somewhere.
I didn't find them. They found me. They came in the backyard and seen me back there sweating like a dog. Like I said, they came over and helped me. And it wasn't some life drastic, because the changes that you see on that thing was grass that needed to be mowed. And so it wasn't no big gesture that was done. It was done, and it was done right. So I don't understand, about what you just seen, but it's not that great. I would recommend for any of y'all to come out. Y'all can see my yard.
Well, we're looking at the pictures in
Okay,
front of
but
us.
that's what I'm just saying about it, so.
Let me ask a question. Now, you told, the code enforcement, what his name is, to come and inspect the home. Now, is he going to inspect the mobile ambulance?
No, that was a discussion point. That isn't,
I just was wondering if he's gonna come from Miss Parker's yard and peek over in our yard like he's been doing.
That's what he's been doing. Because from the very beginning, and then when it first happened, I went next door to Miss Parker, and I let Miss Parker know. Miss Parker, I've done helped that woman. Her husband fell down in there, and he's dead now. I had to break into her house and get him up off the ground. I'm friendly with all my neighbors. I help every last one of them. I don't give a doggone what they need. I'll try to help them. And ain't nobody else, they see me out there working like a dog, and ain't nobody trying to do me the same type of way. And I ain't gonna go over and knock on the doors and tell them to come out there, because if you see somebody working and you help them all the time, it seems like these people would come and help you. Well, I told Miss Parker, I said, if you have a problem with anything back here in your backyard, Miss Parker, because she knows me. I mean, used to make me chest pies all the time. But I told her, I said, I would do whatever you ask of me to do. Just neighborly, you asked me. Well, instead, she told me, she says, well, he asked me, could he use my backyard? Then it was almost like an intimidation thing, because she's saying now that when she told him, she says, well, you can look back there. She's seen me out there working and getting it done. She says, well, now he just comes through my back gate. He just comes over there and comes through the side gate. And if it's a tale, she told him. She said, he just comes through my gate now.
This all started off from a citizen's complaint, it looks like.
He's told me the way it all started off, he was doing another inspection back there by the halfway house and saw my yard over my fence, is what he said.
This case was started as the result of a citizen complaint. It was not the female that Mr. Huffman is referring to. It is someone associated with her, and both she and that party have given me explicit permission to enter their property to photograph the nuisance so that they can have it abated, because they don't want to live there with the property like that for 4 years.
So she's out because I didn't want to interrupt you. So the first story you told me, you didn't tell me the truth the first time.
Again, this is the result of a citizen complaint. However, the complaint is not from that female, which is what I've told you from day one. The complaint is from someone who is a relative of that female, not from her.
That's not what you told me. And like I said, it's not here or there. You said that you was back there at the apartment buildings behind my house. You saw my yard from over the fence back there. You see it, and you came around there. You asked Miss Parker for permission to go in her yard, is what you told me. And like I said, I'm not trying to make you out to be no liar, but the thing is, the truth is the light. And if you tell somebody something, just stick to it. Be a man. Just stay to what you say. And I'm not trying to make you look bad in front of your peers, sir. I'm just saying, when you told me something, just be honest with me. You could have said, well, Miss Parker, and I wouldn't have tried to, retaliate on Miss Parker for what. I would have got my yard done like I'm supposed to do, like I've done. But the thing is, you've misled people by saying things. You call yourself protector.
Mr. Huffman, you're getting off,
Yeah,
okay?
it's not right.
You need to take a breath.
Yeah, it's just not right.
All right, let me ask you one thing. How many citations were listed in your property or presented to you in relation to this?
Listed the car, the vehicles, and my yard.
How many different ones?
He gave me one.
And what happened to that?
I still got it. It's out there in the briefcase in my car. I've got it right now. I can go and get the paper right out of my car, the citation. Would you like to see it? I can go down and get it.
No, I don't want to see it.
Okay.
Let me ask you, I got another question popped up.
All right?
Okay, now this morning at 9:15, because I sat on the board, when they came to go back around there and take more pictures on Miss Parker's side, why was it necessary to bring 3 police? And they sat there and wait for him and his supervisor, one right behind each other, in their car come, and then one stood out there in Miss Parker's driveway like they were protecting in case somebody run away
See,
and pop
here, there.
upside
They
her
feel like
head.
they need that, mama, let them have that. But I'm just trying to figure out
Well,
what
I'm
we
just
need to
wondering
do
why
to
the
be right
police-
by y'all and get this over with.
Well, there appears to be, from the photographs this morning, a lack of total progress. And now you have pictures that, just a minute.
Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
That I have trouble seeing because they're too dark.
Yes, sir.
I've tried to suggest a way that we can resolve this, whether it has or has not been done, because we have two different opinions.
Yes, sir.
The business with the carport is not our,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
and Frankfurt is not ours. I don't know what that is. I can tell you these people are very professional. I've never heard anything otherwise. I don't know what you say one thing, and the pictures that we have taken say another. And Dr. Wilder said that, asked the question is, why didn't you get this done a month ago? and this wouldn't have happened.
I was working, working with him.
Well, all right, but it's not, according to him and the pictures at 9 this morning, there, it wasn't done. I have no way of resolving whether it's been done or it hasn't been without a reinspection.
Yes, sir, please.
Someone on the board like to make a suggestion?
Just remember though, when we're here in the first place, the appeal itself is for the second citation issued, which was on what date again? 2nd of June. So that's,
Sorry, the second citation was on the 17th, which is when you and I went out.
all right, 17th of June. So that's what we're here for, is just that. It's no more, no less than that. Was it in violation at that time? Citation was issued. He has his right to appeal, and that's what he's here for, to appeal that citation, not what he's done since that citation or anything else. That's why we've not been able to, yesterday or today, was able to actually do an official follow-up to that second citation to see if it had been compliance, and we had to stop the proceedings on that just because of the appeal process. We had to do due process, and that's why we're here tonight. Once tonight gets resolved, depending on the actions taken by the board, tomorrow, Brad can go back out to the property and inspect and see what's going on, and do, again, more due process, whether another citation needs to be issued or it's in compliance, he can close his case. So tonight really comes back to the second citation. What was going on then? Was it in violation? Second citation was issued, and that's what we're really here for, not what's happened since then.
What he's saying is, once you appeal this, then they can't do anything. In other words, that the inspection stop. Is that correct?
Correct.
So I stand corrected on my position originally taken.
I'm sorry about interrupting. With that being the case, from the reading that I've done, if a person, if an individual is making efforts towards compliance in a timely, and I know y'all say 71 days, but like I said, I've been getting it. But if a person is making efforts, which, you know, is clearly stated through Brad there, that Mr. Huffman yelled, and I went back, you know, if you're making efforts towards the compliance, where does, you know, I'm not understanding, you know, where it kind of puts that in limbo, because I really was making efforts. It wasn't, you know, that was not efforts being made.
Mr. Huffman, if you don't mind, I'm just going to.
Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
okay.
very sorry.
So that way we can all hear you.
Yes, sir, I'm
Just
sorry.
Thank you.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like you've had several extensions with Brad. You've had discussions that you were going to do maybe 11 days and then
Yes, sir.
so
And
on and
each
so
time I
forth.
did.
But it's still, and again, correct me if I'm incorrect. It's Brad's purview that if sufficient work hasn't been done within a time frame that, you know, you guys have put together, then he has the right to cite you, and that's what it sounds like has happened here. That he gave you multiple extensions, and then from there, the work still wasn't completed, so therefore he issued a citation.
No, sir. Each time he came, what he told me he wanted something done, each time he came, it was done. Each time he told me the specifics of what he wanted done, when he came back, he'd be like, yep, it's done. So each time that he did this, he cited me, I told him, I said, you know, the van, the old photographs, the van that he's speaking of that is now on the front, on the pavement, and it's, like I said, the city taxes and stuff on that vehicle was paid and everything. That vehicle was one of the ones that was in the back that he had asked me to move. When he came that day, I told him, I said, you see the van? He's like, yeah, I see things are being done. But then, this is when he told me, when he came out there with that piece of paper, with that fine on it, he told me, he says, well, you ain't gonna like this. He says, I gotta give you this, it's out of my hands. He says, 'cause what happens is, there's a limited amount of time that you have to get this done. Once it goes past this time, it's out of my hands. It goes to Frankfurt, to higher chains, and we can't do anything about it.
Sir, I don't believe he referenced
I
Frankfurt.
I swear he did.
Well, I understand that, but.
Well, you don't have to believe it, I'm telling the
but-
truth. I put my
but
hand up there.
I've been on this board for some
Okay.
time, and no one has ever.
Well, I'm telling you, you got one that did.
All right, thank you. All right, we have three possibilities here. I'll read them off. I would like to make a motion to uphold the citation and fine in the amount of $406.75. Number two, I would like to make a motion to uphold the citation but dismiss the fine in the amount of $406.75. Or number three, I would like to make a motion to dismiss the citation and the fine in the amount of $406.75. Is anyone on the board would like to make any one of those or to make another motion?
I'd like to make a motion to uphold the citation and the fine in the amount of $406.75.
Proper motion, is there a second?
Second.
Simpson, Wilder, Deere,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Dearbone,
Yes.
Wilder,
Yes.
Thomas.
No. You understand what's happened? There has been a motion upheld and voted by the board to uphold the citation and the fine of $406.75.
Okay, so what's our total? So what's our total?
$406.75.
Okay.
Ask you this. I'm on fixed income, I'm disabled.
I'm sorry. Can you speak into the microphone? We can't hear you. I'm sorry. I know you've had throat surgery.
I'm on a fixed income because I'm disabled. Is all this supposed to be paid at one time, or can I pay it in installments?
Yes, you can make payments, and I can write down the phone number for you so you can set up payments with the city.
Okay, because it ain't right, but I'll pay it.
Mr. Huffman, we appreciate what you're doing, and don't stop, okay?
Yes, sir.
Don't stop.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Thank you for the pictures.
Yes, sir.
Case number 5, old business. Case number 2016-006, citation 2016-1776. The address is 1500 Sunrise North, owner D&L Investments, LLC, respondent, Mr. Don Minton. Officer Mo Hillard.
Yeah, this is an ongoing. The tenants vacated this property on the 7th of this month, and Don's been keeping really close with me, calling quite often, telling me what condition we're in and whatnot. I have some pictures here. He's been working on the windows. They're still not done, but there is work going on there. He's waiting on contractors and whatnot. It's a while to go. It's not done, not by a long shot. But as far as from the original citation, there was some electrical work that was quite dangerous stuff, actually. And it's been cleaned up quite a bit. Like I said, I would guesstimate probably about 50% done at this point. Now, it's been ongoing for 176 days, but he did have tenants in there that there was no way they were going to let him actually do the work. So he's working on it. I met him out there today. He and another gentleman are actively working on it. So that's kind of where we're standing right now.
What did you see them doing today?
They're working on the bathroom, putting up, getting ready to put tile up in the bathroom. He does have the vanity and sink and whatnot to get into the bathroom. He was actually under the house when I first got there to try and get everything hooked up. The windows, that may take a while. They're very odd-shaped windows. They're odd size now, this old of a house. He is trying to locate some that he can put right in. The trying to repair them isn't going so well, but all the glass has been taken care of. He's taken care of all the broken glass.
So you've been inside the house?
Yes.
Mr. Minton? I think you've been sworn a number of times. That ought to suffice.
Okay, what I need to tell you is I was trying to follow your advice from the last meeting to hire a contractor. I did that. I hired Mr. Roy Bell. I've known him for 30-some years. He's a plumber, professional plumber. He was supposed to go in and completely do the bathroom. I was supposed to buy the supplies. Matter of fact, he said he would take care of all the things except the windows and the painting. I'd have to get those done. I'm sorry, this is kind of emotional for me, but Roy went in and said he could get all the work done that on the plumbing and stuff. He could get it done. He thought half a day at the most. I turned it over to him. I had another gentleman come by. He painted the front door, redid the screen on the front door, painted the garage doors. I never did hear back from Roy. I called and pestered him probably every day and left a voicemail. And finally, I called yesterday and I told him that if he wasn't interested in doing the job, please, I knew he knew other plumbers that would come in there and do the stuff that needed to be done a whole lot better than I could do it. His son called me back about 5 minutes after that message and told me that his daddy had died last Monday of a major heart attack. He was only 42 years old. So this morning I got up and I hired another guy that had requested to do some work for me. And we were there at the house. I guess we got there about 10 o'clock. We worked all day. And we got the ceiling up and when you walk in the door, and we got the water faucets, the bathroom. We got it installed. That's the reason I was under the house. I was hooking it up. We'd taken the old vanity out that David, the previous renter, had put in there. He had taken my Gerber bathroom fixture that I had bought for him because he was supposed to put it in. Mo can attest that he took down all the smoke detectors. He done several things that should have been done to the house, but he done them to just aggravate me. He just took all the doorknobs off all the doors, took the doorknobs off the main doors. I had to go buy new doorknobs.
You stole them?
He stole, yes,
All right.
yes, stole, well, I'm sure it was he, but, that's a thing I can't prove. But, anyway, I was expecting everything to be done because we had the painting done. I have hired a guy on the windows. Those windows are an odd size in front. Most of your average windows are, I think they said 54. Some of them are 62, but most of them's 54 is the standard size. Those windows on that house are 66. And the gentleman I hired said he would try to find me some, because we went, we'd have to special order the other ones, and they would be like, well, the standard of the 54s, he said he could get them for $259, I think. He thought those others would be more, but it would take 3 to 4 weeks. So I went and got some glass and repaired the windows as best I could, and I think that'd be sufficient. And like I said, we should be done with this bathroom. I think you've seen that we bought a new vanity for it. She took a picture of the box. But we should be done with it here in just a couple of days. I've got other stuff I have to do, you know, like mow the yards and stuff like that. But I do want you to know too, and you know, I'm not trying to avoid you or make I can't even think. But anyway, I'm not in good health. I'm taking 9 different types of medicine every day, plus insulin. I've had my mother down here, and I'm not making excuses, but I've had my mother down here since March of 2015. She has Alzheimer's. She can't remember where she's at. She can't even remember me sometimes. And then last September, my son, my second son, is 36 years old. And I think I've told you this before. He had a stroke, and we've had him in Vanderbilt the last couple of weeks. We've taken him down there or he was recommended to go down there by his doctor here in Bowling Green. We took him to Louisville the first time, but his doctor wanted him to go to Vanderbilt this time, and we're waiting on trying to get him in there on account of his insurance. They want him to stay at least 5 days. He has infection in his brain, and it acts like Alzheimer's too, because he can't remember, and he's having problems walking. But somebody has to stay with them. And my wife is doing most of the burden, but she takes him to the doctor. I have to stay with my mother, you know, all the time. But you know, we're trying to get this thing done, and we're going to knock it out. And I just had a lot of problems here the last 8 or 9, 10 months. And I think y'all are aware of what I've had. And I've made some mistakes by letting some people in that tells me that they can do the work, and because I lost Mr. Logan back last year too, Mr. Logan, and I've lost Aaron. Those were the people that helped me for several years, and I didn't have any of this problems until after September of last year. I mean, you know, might get me on grass or might get me on something, but anything that they asked me to do, I would do, and would take care of it. And I think Mo can attest to that. She's been with me. Brad can too. I try to take care of everything that has to be done.
Mr. Minton, sorry about the family illness, but the son who is ill, he's not the one that came to us.
No, he's
And,
not.
okay, it's the other son that came to us and said that he would get everything done for you. No, wait a minute, is that not correct?
That's what he said, but I haven't seen yet. I haven't physically seen Yancey, and
But that son did come in and tell you and tell us.
that's
That
what
he
he
would
told
take care of
me, and
everything.
he took care of the car lot. I mean, he helped remove
Thank you.
all the cars, but I haven't seen him since.
I want to make sure that
Yeah.
it wasn't the same son.
Yeah, no, it's not the same son. No, it's not. But Yancey was the other son. He helped me on the car lot, and like I said, I haven't. I think that's what he told you he would do. He would take care of the cars at the time. And that's what he did.
Is this the residence where you had to evict the tenants?
Yes, I did.
And it took you extended period of time
Yeah,
to
it took me
accomplish that objective?
It took me time to get rid of them, and after we got the eviction notice and got the date, they stayed there another 10
And
or
that's the
12.
reason why we gave you an extension
Right,
for another
right.
month, right?
Matter of fact, they didn't call me when it moved, they called Mo. And Mo called me and let me know that they had moved, because this guy, like I said, he done some work for me, but he was wanting me to hit him or something, because he'd come out and put his finger in my face when first couple times I went over there and dare me to hit him, telling me that he would own everything that I had. So I just stayed away. I'd go by and see that they were still there, and that was it. But like I said, he took all the smoke detectors down. Mo can verify that. Anyway, he done more damage than he did good.
Well, we certainly understand you've had your share of problems,
Yeah.
a lot of, more than you deserve, I'm sure.
But like I said,
So how long do you anticipate it might realistically take you to put this house back in compliance?
well, I would say within the next week or so.
Next week or so?
Yeah, like I said, I've got other things come up. You know, I had a tree fall in the house. I need to go take care of that. And I've had sewer problems, and you know, I've got to, you know, things come up. I got so many houses and like I said, I hired a guy today. He seems like he's going to do a good worker. The guy that I hired to do the painting, he done some painting, and he was supposed to help me with the rest of the house, and I paid him what he said I owed him. I paid him $195 for painting the doors, and that's what he charged me for doing that, and haven't seen him.
Mr. Minton, how long have the tenants been out of the house?
It's the 7th of this month.
Seventh?
That's when I contacted,
Okay.
that's when I contacted Mr. Bell, it was Roy Bell Plumbing. And like I said, he said he could, told me not to worry about anything, he could take care of it. And like I said, this was really unexpected, and just hard for me to believe. And I feel so bad, but like I said, last time I talked to him, I said I needed to get this thing done, and if he didn't want to do it, tell me, get somebody, maybe he could help me get somebody else.
Oh, you said about 50% of this has been completed roughly. That's since the 7th?
Yes, yeah. Well, he got a little bit ahead of it because of he had the electrical done before that.
Yeah, I had the electrical done.
So, and that was a big job right there, and, you know, obviously you had to have a licensed electrician for that. My thing is, we need to understand this. I don't think it'll be a week because of those windows.
Well,
We gotta
yeah,
have the windows in compliance. They were not
Yeah,
able to be
I
lifted.
forgot about the windows. I was talking
They
about
weren't-
the bathroom.
Then other ones were, you could lift them, but they wouldn't stay up, or they wouldn't lock at all. The windows really need to be in compliance. But, I mean, as far as the rest of it goes, he would probably be able to straighten up quite a bit within a week, but those windows are gonna.
I'm sorry, I completely forgot about the windows.
That's totally gotta get in code.
There's
We discussed
special
that,
order?
Yeah. It
Well,
sounds
the
like
gentleman
it.
said that his name is Tim Gavin, I think is his last name, I'm not for sure. He said if he couldn't find any, I went out to Lowe's to check on them too, and Lowe's told me that they'd take 21 days to deliver, but this guy said he thought he could find me some and he'd take care of them. But, like I said, he would install them. He gave me a price on him installing them, and if I buy the windows at Lowe's, or if he gets me the windows, you know.
Show me some pictures of the windows again.
I got new glass in them. They had broken all the glass.
Right, this is new glass.
Yeah.
But the frames itself won't, you know, some of them just won't lift. They're so,
That's what we're saying,
well,
Mr.
the old-
Minton.
They're
They're
not
gonna
in
be able to be
compliance.
raised
Right.
for,
right.
That's the reason we're going with the new windows, you know.
and
And to be locked, a lot of them aren't able to be locked. If you can raise them, you can't lock them. It's just, yeah, those windows are just,
And
What about the area shown here above the windows? Go back.
That's gonna be taken care of too. That's, the first gentleman that painted the doors and he painted some of those window frames and painted the garage doors and stuff. He was supposed to scrape that and paint that. That he didn't do, but this gentleman I hired today said he could take care of that. He'd be glad to do it.
if you will remember, this case actually started in January. So to do an exterior painting. It wasn't actually
Yeah.
on this case. Paint wasn't on it at the time. But we've discussed the fact that
Yeah.
now's our time to
Yeah.
kind of be thinking that we got to get that done too. But it's not part of this case, really. The paint and how messed up the windows were because of the condition of the windows.
Well,
Again, David was supposed to take care of those, and I took him glass down there to do it, but it was never taken care of.
Well, according to the materials given to us, the total previous citation and per day fines of 1,677 have been approved, but they're not paid. Is that correct? And we have a current day fine accrued since the 7th of $6,300. And per day fines held in abeyance since 4/26 of 16 of $8,700.
Well, the thing of it is, sir, I couldn't get in the house to make the repairs. I mean, David wouldn't
We
let me in.
understand.
We just had
We don't want to beat you over the head. We'd like to get it done.
yeah, I'd like to get it done too. I hate keeping coming up here, to be honest with you. Not that, I don't enjoy talking to you, but, it's on my nerves too. I mean, I'm just, it's something going on all the time.
Well, it seems like you're trying to make progress. But was 176 days, now that's,
Well, like I said, we didn't get possession of it till June the 7th. I mean, you know,
well, you should have thrown him out earlier.
well, I should have, yes, but.
I think Mr. Minton and I have talked about this a bit, in all honesty, and he's been a bit too patient with that sort of thing. And I think this might be a good lesson for him. I think it might just sink in this time. So.
I don't
it
know, he
definitely-
got a painter that left, and
Well, I've got another one though. You know, this gentleman, I was impressed with what he done today. And, the only other job that he has is he works down here at the ballpark, and he said that's only 3 or 4 hours when they're in, games are on the line. Like I said, I'll be glad to, we should have everything except the windows. Like I said, I have no control over those when they get here, but, you know, be glad to call Mo just as soon as we finish this thing up inside and
so do you think we can get this done by the next meeting?
No. I'm speaking for him. No, you can't get it done that quick, Jack. It takes, somebody knows what they're doing to put the windows in. Cause it's an old building. It's
I've
an
got,
old-
I've got the professional guy, that's all he does
Well,
is do windows.
You've had lots of professional people that have let you down.
Yeah, well, that's
And
true too.
I'm not being ugly, but you have.
Yeah.
And I don't want to give him a date that he can't live with anymore. If that's what you're looking at, Jack, and I don't think he can do it by the next time. The windows alone, it's going to take longer than that, and they're going to be expensive.
Yeah, they
They're
are.
not cheap.
No.
They're special made windows, and there's
Well,
got
I
to.
only have 4 of those that are special made. I think that, he said something about 2 of the smaller ones that might be special made too, but, I had him look at 2 houses, and I think there was a total of, like 28 windows. Between 18 and 28, I can't recall. He gave me a price to what he would install, and he's going to, put the, vinyl around them, install the vinyl windows.
Does he think he can find some salvage windows?
That's what he was trying to do, to
There's a
save me
place,
some
I
money.
think, down in Simpson County where you can buy that kind of thing.
Oh, is that right? Well, he might know, I don't know, but he said he would check on it and get back with me. Of course, it's, I haven't heard from him.
That would
He
save
said
you a good bit of money.
And he said he was booked solid. You know, he said he'd just have to work me in a little at a time, and I told him I'd appreciate anything that he could do for me. But he did give me a good price on installing. I think it's $45 for installing each window plus $15 if you've done the wraparound. So, and that just installing is going to be quite a bit. But the other windows will. I can get all the stock windows, you know, I think I can get those or Home Depot, either one.
You think it takes 8 weeks, Delane, to get the
I
windows?
just think with all the trouble he's had and all the bad luck with his friends and professional people that have let him down, and the fact that you just said that this one man will help you when he can, right?
Well, he wants to help me every day, but he said he has a job at the ballpark, and, whatever games, you know, when the game's in town, that's when he can't, well, he can work, depends on what time.
I just want to help, and I hate to see us keep spinning our wheels, and you make promises that you can't fulfill, and lots of times it has not been your fault, but sometimes you got to think about this stuff before you agree to something.
That's true, that's
And
true.
that's all I'm asking and suggesting.
I appreciate that. Like I said, I'll do my best. I should have my part of everything except the windows done by, you know, within a week, 2 weeks at the most, you know, in case something else comes up.
Mr. Minton, so technically, there's no windows ordered now, right? None's been ordered.
None's been ordered as of today. I was waiting to hear from Tim.
None's been ordered, but you've been quoted for how much it would be to install them, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Is there a heat and air system in that house? Heat and air system?
There's heat. There's no air.
No window units?
No. Well, we'll probably put one of the units in, but I have no electricity in it, right? I mean,
The electrical will carry window units?
Yes, I just had it rewired. It cost me $1,285 to have a new fuse box put in that.
Okay.
And that's what one of the citations was about, was electric. And it was done by Mark Hutton, certified electricity.
Remember that.
Huh?
I remember that.
Yeah.
Dr. Thomas, I'm reluctant to make this motion, but in light of all of the various circumstances, some of which are almost unbelievable, that much bad luck could happen to a single individual.
Well, if I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all.
I do think that we need to be persistent and sticking to we need to recover the $1,677 at some point of previous fines which have been levied and have not been paid. The $15,000, we could debate that for a long time. I doubt that you can afford to pay $15,000 in fines. And in light of the fact that you couldn't get the people out of the house to get the house put back in compliance.
I made bad judgments when Mr. Logan passed away and when Aaron left. I let these people come in, they looked at the house, I told them, you know, stuff had to be done. One of them, I'm a professional, I can do all this, this is what I do for a living, this construction work, and this is how I'm left. So I've learned, there won't be any more of that. The house will be completely ready to go before I'll let anybody else.
I would make a motion that we delay any action on this until, 8 weeks, Mr. Simpson? And Mo, if you will be persistent in staying in touch with the gentleman, that would be really appreciated.
I would ask you to also consider in your motion, we've already passed previous citation fines of $1,677 that have not been paid. That to make this valid, that he goes ahead and pays this.
Well, that was going to be a part of my motion, that we go ahead and try to collect that money.
And then I would
make a decision on the $15,000.
Okay, and I would also say, in light of Mr. Simpson's remarks, that we would expect the windows and everything totally done by August, and if not, you got $15,000
Okay,
on the books.
I'll check on it tomorrow, see if he's found anything.
Well, you understand, this
Yes,
is
sir.
the end of the road.
Yes, sir.
Was that a proper motion or what? I mean,
Restate that if you don't
I
mind.
think we're probably gonna be better to restate it just one more
Please.
time. Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure I can know how. Could somebody help me? We're going to delay any action on the $15,000 fines until 2 months from now. We're gonna give you 2 months to get the house in compliance, where Ms. Hilliard's gonna come out and say, you've done a great job and congratulations, we're ready to move off of this one. And then we'll make a decision in 2 months about the $15,000. But during the meantime, we need to collect the previous fines, which were assessed at almost $1,700.
16.
$1,677.
I'll second that motion.
And that the meeting date would be on August the 23rd,
Correct.
so that this would be completed by August 23rd. If not, then that $15,000 will be assessed.
So that gives you 2 months,
Yes, sir.
8 weeks.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
With a little incentive to get it done.
Yeah.
Do I have a second? Okay.
Wilder, Simpson. Deere,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Dearbone,
Yes.
Wilder,
Yes.
Thomas.
Of the 1,600.
Needs to be
Yeah.
paid.
I'll have to work out some arrangements. I'll have to work out some arrangements on that. I'll get in touch with you in a couple of days. All right.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Is that it for me?
Your next
Got another
step.
one? Oh, yeah, we got another, number 6. Case number 2015-4424. The address is 1524 Parkhurst Drive. Owner DNL Rentals LLC, respondent Mr. Don Minton. Brad?
If Mr. Minton needs to leave, we don't need him for this
We
case.
got another one for you.
No, I'm saying we don't need,
We don't
he
need
no
him?
longer owns the property, so I'll
Okay.
update you guys on that, but if he
All right.
needs to. At the May 24th meeting, the board passed a motion on this case to uphold the per-day fine in the amount of $8,700 accrued since the April 26th meeting, and to continue the per-day fine in the amount of $150, starting when the tenants are out due to the eviction that will run until the June meeting. As of June 10th, as of June 9th, which was with the master commissioner sale, Mr. Minton no longer owns this property. So on the code enforcement side, we'll be closing this case and reopening a new case when the new owner is determined in order to proceed with that route.
And I will tell you, the bank was the purchaser at the sale, so I imagine the bank will either take their steps, the financial institution, or there'll be a new purchaser. There were some other interested bidders at the sale, so I do anticipate that this is gonna change hands. Well, it has changed hands.
What do we do with the bank? Can we bring the bank into this process?
At this point in time, the bank has an equitable interest in the property there, and yes, you can talk to them, but, it will not be technically final for about another 20 days, so. Brad, you
addition-
can check.
Yeah, and in addition, the civil eviction, again, was effective earlier in June. However, Mr. Minton gained access to the property earlier this week and states that the power's been cut off, the meter's pulled, there haven't been any cars coming and going, but all of that person's furniture, boxes, and belongings are still in there. So we're not sure if they were just abandoned or if that person is planning to come back and get them at a later time when there's a new owner. We're not quite sure what's going on with that either. So, but until I have access in order to even make interior inspections in the transition between the bank and a new owner, we'll primarily just be discussing any overgrown grass or any exterior issues that we can handle with the bank directly until there's a new owner inside the property.
Where's the money? Where's the money?
Money, where is the money? Money right now, the bank, because they were owed the money, there was really no money paid in. They bid in what was owed on the mortgage on it. So there's not and it's money, but in dollar bills changing hands, there was no real money that changed hands.
Do we have a lien on that property also?
That's, the city attorney does that, and I don't know if he ever effectuated a lien on this or not.
Last Tammy and I spoke, both the mobile home park on Russellville Road and this property, she had filed some of the liens. I'm not sure if it was all of the liens, the most recent ones, but there were some filed, especially when we found out in the newspaper prior to last month's meeting and brought that to your attention. We had also brought it to her attention so that she could try to expedite that process of making sure that those liens were recovered.
We don't know that.
I don't for
know
certain.
that now, but I'll let you know by the next meeting. The problem with it is did it bring enough money?
I'm sorry?
Problem is, did the sale bring enough money to cover those? I'm afraid it probably did not, given the circumstances.
Well, if we filed a lien, does that not follow to the new owners, whoever that would be?
Extinguished at the sale. The point is normally, things like mowing, debris removal, I view that, and another head as a master commissioner, is improvements to maintain the property. So we see that gets paid. Fines that relate to something not being in compliance does not come ahead of mortgages and taxes. So,
But does it come in there at all?
oh yeah, if there's any money left. Interestingly enough, a lot of the sales, I have to file a notice with the court and say, I'm holding money, please come get it.
Well, let us know.
I will, I'll let you know the next meeting.
Okay. So what do we need to say here? Our board's discretion, we scratch it or?
I would just hold off to the next meeting to see where we are. Let's just bring it up then.
How about checking or double checking or ask them to make sure that there is in fact a lien was filed, or if it's not too late to file it, to file it?
At that time, we could tell if any of the deeds have, I guess, changed hands between,
I'll tell you this point, they haven't yet, so that's why I'm telling you.
right, at the next meeting, yeah.
Probably hasn't, okay.
Okay, case 7, 2015-4424, the address 1777 Holly Drive, number A. KC Enterprises is the owner, and our owner, we don't know where he is, so Brent.
At the May 24th board meeting, the board passed a motion to assess $12,095.25 plus the accrued $8,700 in per-day fines to that time, which puts the fine amount over $20,000 on the property. If the repairs were not completed by today, the city attorney would foreclose on the property. The board requested that code enforcement try as many delivery methods as possible to reach the owner and express the severity of the case, fines, and situation. The following methods of service were attempted to deliver that message to the owner as in the form of the findings of fact from the last meeting. Certified mail to 704 East 16th Avenue, first class mail to the same address. An email was sent to the email address with a return receipt. It was hand-delivered / posted upon the property at 1777 Holly Drive. It was hand-delivered and posted upon the property on East 16th Avenue. It was hand-delivered and posted upon the property at an address listed for Mr. Emmanuel on St. Andrew's Circle, and face-to-face contact was made with neighboring businesses on 16th Avenue and employees of the WKU department where Mr. Emmanuel was believed to be employed. So we pretty much exhausted every method that we physically could. In addition to that, the information that I've gathered from several sources while doing so is that Mr. Emmanuel is either in the process of being employed with a different, I guess in a different state is the best way to put it without knowing concrete information. But it appears that he either is or will no longer be employed with WKU, as he's accepted a different position outside of the state. In addition, There was some talk from a neighboring business at the East 16th Avenue business that he was in the process of trying to come back at the end of June to sell all of these properties and liquidate everything that he had here in Kentucky before he then left to move to the other state, but apparently he's been traveling in between the two. We don't have any other way of contacting him, and there's no for sale signs on this property. I don't know of any sales on this or any of the other properties that he has that are rentals that we're aware of in the city. So right now that's pretty much all we know.
But he lives in Warren County, or did?
Within the city limits of Bowling Green, yes, sir. Yeah, and
He had
that's,
his address at one point in time that sent all this stuff.
and that's one of the addresses that I went and knocked on the door, and a couple times actually, David Herman has gone by, and the letter that I had posted on the door is still there. It's fallen down, but it's still in front of the door, so nobody's been there to pick it up, and that was several weeks ago. So
No cell phone communication from him, no calls or anything?
nothing. And if he's no longer employed or in the process of changing employment, then the email address wouldn't work, or he might not be checking it as well. But no, we haven't, no phone calls. I think Tabitha's called him. He's texted me in the past. He won't respond to any texts now either, so nothing.
Randy, what do you know? Your old stomping grounds?
I don't. I know that he was employed as a professor at WKU, but other than that, that's all I know. I didn't realize that he had taken another
Have a son who's a
position.
pretty good middle linebacker?
I have no idea.
Maybe he does,
No idea.
for Western's
I
football.
can find out
That's irrelevant, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
but at this point.
But in summary, the case is at 267 days, and as you see by the picture there, the property's still in violation. It doesn't look, the grass isn't overly long, but I don't know if he has someone else mowing it, but, I mean, nothing's been done
Need to get
since November.
Attorney to file a lien on that property?
That's what
They need to foreclose on this one. I
Yeah, we
think.
need to. We said if it wasn't done by this meeting.
Well, and as you see on the motions there, that's one of the motions, is to proceed with a foreclosure against the property if that's, the board's decision.
Need to add that lien thing on this one at this time?
No, I don't think there's any rush on this one. I think, I think I think they've got plenty of time to take care of the lien on this one, unless there's a pending sale. Now, if we were to find out about a pending sale in the event he is trying to liquidate all of his properties, then we'll certainly.
Well,
try to
I
offset
would
their-
think we ought to be thinking that way, because I'm sure that's what, if he's thinking about disposing of his property, yes.
Yeah, and we have actually already requested a title search on the property as of a couple weeks ago while we were discussing this property with the legal department, so that they've already started the ball rolling. They're just waiting for your word to give them a thumbs up, and they'll
I'd like to make a motion to proceed with the foreclosure action.
Second.
And I'll ask about a lien, does that need to be included, or is it automatic, or what?
What they would do is file a lien and then file the foreclosure to enforce the lien, which is the process. It's a two-step process, but they.
But
get
it's
you started.
included,
Yes, sir.
and it's already second, right?
And in addition, Mr. Broderick can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe that the legal department is then going to go through all those same steps to try to notify him before they actually take that action. So it's kind of, we're going to double up and do the
Convoluted,
same thing
yeah.
again. But again, it gives him a second opportunity to come forward and try to, correct these things before it actually gets to that stage.
Thomas, Deere,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Dearbone,
Yes.
Wilder,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Eighth case, 2016-1979, citation listed as 2016-2954. The address 1370 Stubbins Street, owner Benjamin Joseph Harrison. Brad? I don't know,
This case is the result of a roaming inspection conducted on April 6th. This is a vacant and abandoned structure. It's not maintained in good repair or good condition. It has had no utility service since 2009, which is my assumption that that's when it's been abandoned and vacant since. It has a shed or two in the backyard that are not maintained in good repair. It's got a dilapidated fence around the backyard. It's got graffiti, which I've been trying to abate since March with no luck. There's numerous areas of peeling, flaking, chipping paint, exposed wood, decaying wood, etc. We sent a notice on May 6th, completed a compliance reinspection, still in violation. Due to ongoing problems with the property owner and his status as a code enforcement board ordered repeat offender, it's unlikely that any extensions or further attempts at voluntary compliance would be productive at all. So additionally, during that follow-up, there were additional areas along the fascia, soffit, roof line that are in a state of decay or deterioration. I issued a citation at that date, and it was sent by sent by certified mail to the PVA listed owner and address, as well as posted on the property, and photos were taken. Compliance reinspection date was May 16th. On May 12th, in between those two dates, I had to send a notice of violation regarding overgrown grass and weeds on the property. On the 18th of May, I made face-to-face contact with both the property owner and his maintenance man or maintenance personnel named Charles to discuss several of his properties currently in violation, which included this one. Tim, if you go to June 20th, you should have pictures in there. Either that or June 10th, I'll have them in there as well. I explained to the property owner and the maintenance personnel, or the gentleman who does his maintenance, that one citation was already issued, and in addition, another compliance check was coming up due to overgrown grass, and that the property needed to be mowed. We agreed that they would have an extension to reinspect Friday the 20th in order to allow for any type of compliance on the property and for the grass to be mowed. On the 20th of May, I completed a compliance reinspection and found the property still to be in violation with no positive changes having been made. In addition, grass and weeds on the property were still overgrown. A citation, which included the overgrown grass, was issued on that date and posted on the property, as well as sent by certified mail to the PVA listed owner and address. That should be May 20th, Tim, in the folder there. Compliance reinspection date of June 1st was listed. A work order was also created to have the property mowed by the city contractor, and photographs were taken of the citation and property at the time the citation was posted. Right below that, Tim, right there. On June 2nd, I was able to track down the maintenance personnel, Charles, who I'd been looking for to discuss Mr. Harrison's properties for several days. We discussed this property. He stated he didn't have any exterior paint to work on the house, but Mr. Harrison wouldn't buy any for him to use. He was trying to piece things together, but the owner was not cooperating with him to work on the property at all. I agreed to grant an extension to the following Friday, which was June 10th, for any type of compliance on the property. On June 10th, I completed a compliance reinspection, and the property was still in violation. Citation was ordered on that date, was issued on that date and was posted on the property, as well as sent by certified mail. Compliance reinspection date of June 20th was listed on the citation, and photographs were taken of the citation and property at the time it was posted. On the 20th of June, I reinspected again. Property is still in violation. Grass and weeds are again overgrown, and I've sent, I think, 2 separate notices since then about overgrown grass. As of today, the case is at 83 days. Again, this property has been vacant and abandoned for 7 years. The property owner is a repeat offender at your order, and due to ongoing problems with his properties, he is very difficult to deal with. Myself, Tim, and James have all gone to speak in person with him at his house to impart the seriousness of all of his different properties and what he needs to do to get in compliance and to try to work with him, and there's not a lot that's going to happen there. So,
How old a gentleman is he?
late 50s, early 60s, I'd say.
Oh, he knows what's going on.
If there's,
He understands.
There's other issues maybe involved of his choosing. So,
Being nice now, huh?
trying.
Well,
Repeat offender, what's our maximum we can do on this?
I can't remember what there is a cap, isn't it, on the maximum?
I thought it was 6.
Double.
if a designated repeat offender is cited for violation of the provisions of subchapters of support set out here and above, and the citation is not contested, a maximum fine of $1,200 shall apply. However, the Code Enforcement Board may waive any or all of the fines, et cetera, et cetera. If the designated repeat offender contests the citation and a hearing before the board is required, and he's not contesting, right? Because he's not here.
Correct.
So I don't have to worry about that. So it looks like $1,200. Is that the way you read that?
That's the way I read it.
Okay, I make a motion that we assess a fine of $1,200. Do I have a second?
Let me ask one question, just for clarification. So if we do that, does that negate anything that's on the list as far as the per-day fine of $400, or how does that work? Just for my own clarification.
I guess my assumption would be you could do either or I guess probably even both if you wanted to. I don't know that levying a whole bunch of fees or fines onto the property are going to help down the road if we are able to either assist Mr. Harrison in transferring ownership of the property, or if he were to demolish it, or we end up demolishing it. That would be my only concern as far as that goes.
Well, let me ask, if we did the $1,200, could we then add to that, that if that wasn't paid by the next meeting, we could start proceedings to condemn it? And
The house has been vacant for 7 years.
7 years.
I think we need to do something like that, move it along.
I think 1,200 is probably unreasonable. The house is not even worth.
Yeah, I like that too.
But we didn't, I guess as code enforcement, we didn't want to bring that in front of the board at this point in order to give him an opportunity and to give you an opportunity to try to gain voluntary compliance through
7
fines or
years,
fees.
I think he's not going to comply.
It needs to persist.
That's why I said the 1,200, if that doesn't get the attention,
And next month.
then next month, start the proceedings to demolish.
What about levying a fine of $1,200 and directing that demolition procedures take place, or he take the action to get that done? Do a fine and then direct something about them on the property.
I doubt he's voluntarily gonna take his own action, but if you direct the city to do it, then we can go there.
And-
I mean, I'm just talking right now about,
We've discussed that with him. We've brought him the consent form in person on both this property and a different property. Explained the process that we could lien it. He doesn't have to pay anything up front, and then he's just got grass he can sell, and it wasn't getting anywhere. So that's kind of where we're at.
Okay, so we make a motion to do the $1,200 maximum fine, and if it is not paid by the next meeting, that we ask the city to proceed with the whatever process, condemnation and demolishing, or whatever the official words are.
is it reasonable? Drury? I'll second that motion.
Thomas, Simpson, Deere,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Dearbone,
Yes.
Wilder, Thomas,
Number 9, case number 2016-590, citation 2016-925. The address 24 10th Avenue East. The owner Quest/Century Link. Brad,
This is
they've done everything, haven't they?
Yeah, this is just a request for a fee removal. There was an error at the PVA records of the PVA office, and they had the wrong owner listed for this parcel. So it's not regarding the property or the violations. That was taken care of back in February. It's just asking the board to remove or dismiss the citation and fines related to that case so that they can be applied correctly to the correct owner.
So okay. Do we know who owns it now and where they are? And
We believe so, but it's kind of a little bit of a limbo area. We're not sure if it's a CSX or an old Portage Railroad or possibly Hill Motley, and so PVA is looking into it, but what it comes down to is it's definitely not Quest and CenturyLink, and they've been very helpful working with me and just said, hey, we don't want to pay that, we don't own it, so.
motion to abate the fine and citation.
Second it.
Thomas, Wilder, Deere,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Dearbone,
Yes.
Wilder,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes. Okay, the consent document, Exhibit A, is before you. I have a motion to accept as presented.
I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented to us.
Second.
Dearbone, Deere,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Dearbone,
Yes.
Wilder,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes. Any other business to come before the board? Y'all are just doing too good a job. This thing just is getting longer and longer, and we have to have 2 officers present. Thank you for coming. We didn't know what would happen tonight, so thank you. So I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Simpson, Dearbone, Deere,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Dearbone,
Yes.
Wilder, Thomas.
Yes. Thank you, Counselor.
Hey.
Thank you, staff.
Two.